From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Welcome, and please find your seats. We've got a really full program, and I'm sure most of you have been at some of the program this morning. I'm Peggy Bolger. I'm director of the American Folklife Center here at the library, and on behalf of the entire center staff, I want to welcome you to the Library of Congress and this special presentation in the Folklife Center's Benjamin Botkin Folklife Lecture Series. In addition to the members of the public who've joined us today, I know many of you, I want to recognize and welcome the members of the American Musical Instrument Society. Please give them a hand. Those of you in the society may not know it, but a lot of the general public is joining us for this program. For the next few days, I know that this international scholarly body is holding their 39th annual meeting here at the library, and the Folklife Center is very proud to join our colleagues at the Music Division in co-sponsoring this event. The Botkin series provides us here at the library with a platform for professional folklorists and ethnographers and ethnomusicologists working both in the academy and the public sector to present their findings from ongoing research. And this series allows us to interact with cutting-edge scholarship and musicians and performers, and this entire program will be videotaped for our collections, for the permanent collections. So this would be a good time if you do have a cell phone or a pager. It'd be good if you turned it off now. And in this way, it allows us to actually gather together the very best of music, dance, and scholarship for the generations to come who will be using the Library of Congress and the American Folklife Center archive. Today, in recognition of the American Musical Instrument Society's presence, we're featuring a lecture demonstration on one of the world's most remarkable instruments, the Slovakian Fujara. And I have the honor of introducing to you Bob Rychlik, who is a leading advocate, maker, teacher, and performer of what they call the Queen of the Flutes. Oh, and I wanted to say that we do have the ambassador here, and I want to recognize him. Sir, could you please? That's just wonderful. I'm sure that this program will bring you back. I know that Nancy Gross of our staff actually met Bob at the embassy when we had the embassy week, and just was so enthralled by this music. We had to bring Bob here to demonstrate this music. Bob Rychlik was born in Czechoslovakia, and he's a multi-instrumentalist. His love of American guitar and banjo styles was already deeply rooted before he moved to America in 1984. In 1999, a friend's gift of a Fujara reawakened his interest in Czech and Slovak traditional culture, and it led to an in-depth research and experimentation with this instrument. He's also organized the first American Fujara workshop in 2006, and later Fujara workshops in Slovakia and the Czech Republics, where he taught his new playing methods. Bob became the first foreign member of the exclusive Fujarici guild in Slovakia and recorded his first CD, Ideas with Fujara, and was featured on Czech TV and also on Czech and Slovak radio. His love for American acoustic blues and Slovak overtone flutes intersected when he discovered that he could play the blues on the instruments, and he became a member of the Archie Edwards Blues Heritage Foundation. He's working on an English language method book for the Fujara, and he composes works for the Fujara guitar and keyboard. So please join me in welcoming Bob Rychlik.
Good evening, everybody. First, I would like to thank the Library of Congress for its tremendous opportunity to be part of the Botkin lecture series. And I would like to welcome all members of American Music Instrument Society, His Excellency, Ambassador of Slovak Republic, Petr Burian, and all my friends, all my fans, my family, and everybody else who came to this event. My name is Bob Rychlik, as you heard already, and I will introduce to you a little-known class of instruments from Slovakia, which belong into class of overtone flutes, and especially the largest one of them, Queen of Flutes, Fujara. I will briefly talk about history of Fujara, about its roots. Then I will play selected examples of music of Fujara, koncovka, and six-hole flutes. Then I would like to move to the current use of Fujara. And at the end, I would like to introduce to you a new kind of overtone flute of my design. Then there will be some time left for questions and answers. You will do the question part and I will do the answer part, hopefully. Maybe the other way around, because there are so many experts here who might know much more about the matter than I do. But enough talking. It's time to call the Fujara to the mic and ask her to introduce herself and speak for herself. My friends, this is Fujara. Fujara, bodaj by spukala, že si ma tej noci tak smutne pískala, tak smutne pískala. Hej, veď som ťa napojil pod skalou v doline, že bys mi pískala v noci po dedine, v noci po dedine. look in a history. It's hard to believe, but Fujara actually goes back to 12th and 13th century to this little tiny overtone flute from Middle Ages, which was called and played, it was called pipe, and was played together with drum, sometimes with the string drum, called tabor, pipe and tabor, the other way around, like this. I would play you a short example of this instrument. It was played both parts by one player, which had big advantage. Not two musicians, just one musician, so you only had to buy one beer. That's why it was very popular. It was popular like rock music is today, for about 400 years up to 15th century, and it is still being played in some parts of Europe today, especially in the Basque region and in England. This piece is a little dance, Morris tune, which is called Balance the Straw. The musicologists are telling us that around 15th century, some foreign troops brought pipe and tabor to Slovakia and left one, maybe more of them there. But of course, the Slovaks started to play on it their own music. They would have killed me because of my girlfriend, but I ran away from them and hidden in a deep valley. Boli by ma zabili pre 2 snopky jariny, hej, ale som im utiekol do hlbokej doliny. Hej, ale som im utiekol do hlbokej doliny. Do hlbokej doliny, do hlbokého jarku, hej, boli by ma zabili pre tú moju frajírku. Hej, boli by ma zabili pre tú moju frajírku. Thank you. As you can see, the first part I played on the medieval pipe with 3 holes, 2 on top and one on bottom. The second part I've played already on Slovak 6-hole flute, on which for this piece I kept the top 3 holes closed and I only used the bottom 3 holes. This is a method of playing called trojčenie, like a triple play, which emulates the same way which the original pipe was using. And then the last part I have played on another amazing Slovak instrument which is called koncovka. Koncovka means konec is end, so it's koncovka means like end flute. All the tones are generated by overtones. The overtone scale, which is similar, for example, to bugle or other instruments in wind family. So koncovka can play anything what bugle can play. All the signals, military signals or other signals, like, I don't know. We just had preakness, like this is like signal for that, right? But koncovka has another advantage. Besides this basic overtone scale, it has another scale. When you get that scale when you close the end. That's why it is called koncovka, end flute. When you close the end, the tone goes down. So you got sort of a scale where you combine all those tones together, which is actually scale in Lydian mode. Lydian mode, for those who don't know, it's like a regular scale, but the fourth step is raised half step up. So it's like Preletěl sokol z duba na topol, sadnul na větvičku, zahrál na strunečku, rozveselel dvor. Ovečky moje, a já jsem váš ovčár, a já jsem váš ovčár, a já vám postavím v suchej hore košjár, v suchej hore košjár. Fujara is the largest of the overtone family, and in case you wonder why is it so large, from this small flute, how it became so much bigger? Well, there are several theories on that. One is that, of course, as the tools were becoming larger and larger, you could drill larger and larger holes. Also, the longer the lower voice, right? So the lower voice is maybe more pleasant to the human ears than the shrill high overtones. And but my theory is this: you know that saying, hey, "My Fujara is bigger than your Fujara." No, it's getting bigger. No, my is bigger than yours. So, and so it was growing and growing, and at certain point, you need to reach the holes. So, what do? If you make it bigger, you cannot reach the holes. So, Slovak ingenuity created additional tube, which is also hollow. So you blow into that tube, it carries the air up, and then there is another hollow tube, which carries the air inside the main chamber. Then you can blow here and still reach the holes. So now the size only is depending on your taste, on the size of drills, and that's all. Problem solved, There is a lot of songs about Janošík in Slovakia. Janošík was folk hero. Janošík means Little John. Folk hero like Robin Hood, or even maybe Jesse James in this country, who was taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Sometimes taking from poor and rich and giving to himself. But we don't say it. And of course he was hero, and this song says, Janošík whistled from a high mountain, and yes, he had a girlfriend in a deep valley. Zapískal Janošík, Zapískal Janošík na skále vysokej, hej, na skále vysokej. Thank you. I also promised I will talk about six-hole flutes, which, again, Slovak six-hole flutes are a little bit different from six-hole flutes from other countries because the members of American Music Instrument Society will know about this. There is some thing which is called aspect ratio, which is length divided by the bore, and the aspect ratio is larger, so they still have the fundamental octave, but they are also able to play in several overtone registers. I would like to demonstrate it in two examples. In first one, I will play a little piece which mostly uses the fundamental octave, and the second one uses a lot of the overtone registers. Hej, vlha, pekný vták. Hej, vlha, pekný vták, nerob si hniezda pri cestách. Nerob si hniezda pri cestách. And of course, there's also double flute. And again, differentiating from double flutes of other countries, this one also has much larger range in the overtone register. So you can, on this drone part, other flutes from other countries only play one tone. But this one, because it also can play several tones. So I will play something for you which would demonstrate it. Thank you. I would like to tell you that Fujara is really not being given the recognition which it should have. Because this instrument is capable of more than 2 octaves of diatonic scale and almost chromatic, fully chromatic except 1 tone, which for the experts, this is a G Fujara, so for the G Fujara, this tone which is not there is C sharp. All other tones you can play. And it can be played besides its basic key, which would be the fundamental key of the Fujara, which is determined by its length. It could be played in several other keys, major and minor, which I do very often. I found one rare example of Slovak folk song which also uses 1 different key. Most of them are in the basic key, this is the easiest to play. But this one starts in key of G and then it goes into C. And it's a sad song about those who were caught, those highwaymen, you know. And it says, "Whose are those sheep walking up there, uphill? Oh, they belong to John, the one they are gonna hang." And as they were taking him across the barren field, his girlfriend calls after him, "Come back, my love." "How can I come back when I'm all tied up? The executioners are waiting for me under the gallows." Yeah, reality. Čieže to ovečky hore krúňom idú. Čieže to ovečky hore krúňom idú. A to sú Janíkové, a to sú Janíkové, a to sú Janíkové, čo ho vešať budú. The sound is right when it sounds at the beginning. It has several reasons for it. Well, besides calling the attention, right? One of the reasons is that when you sit to piano, you can see the keys and you can start to play. You know which note you want to start. On guitar, you have string, you have frets. On Fujara, you control the tones by your breath. So you first have to orient yourself on the scale. So you come from top and say, oh, okay, here I am. So here I start, you know. Also, there is a reason you sort of test the instrument, how much breath does it take, maybe even heat up a little bit the air column. And this so-called rosfuk, or scatter, how they are translating it now into English, is being used on Fujara and also on koncovka, but sometimes even on the six-hole flute. I will play a little piece which has a very happy melody and very sad lyrics, which is usually the case in Slovak songs. It says, I've been grazing my sheep on Green Mountain, but they all died because they drank water which was too cold. Hej, pasou som ovečky, hej, na holi zelenej, aj všetky mi pokápali, joj, od vody studenej. As you could hear, the Slovak songs, the Fujara repertoire at least, are about the very hard life, about the facts of life, and you know, life is hard, so songs are sad, melancholic, somebody even can say depressing, but they are also somehow magically relaxing. But there is also one exception to that. I found one folk song which is rather dynamic. You could even call this traditional style syncopic. And again, even when the melody is sort of cheerful, the lyrics say that the lyrics are about forced military service. People who didn't have money, they had to go. It was like 6 years or more, and there was people who could pay, they just paid it off, right? So it says, when they were taking me from the headquarters, or marching me from the headquarters, the guards were pouring me some wine. And I said, don't pour me, pour yourself. You already saved me a drink of my bitter tears. Keď dňa šikovali od pana Richtára, hej, keď dňa šikovali od pana Richtára, hej, lievali mi drabí vinko do pohára, hej, lievali mi drabí vinko do pohára. Ej, nelejte, vypijte si sámi. Ej, nelejte, vypijte si sámi, keď ste ma napojili horkými slzami, keď ste ma napojili horkými slzami. Thank you. Thank you. The second part, which I've added to the song, was something else, but I wanted to show you, demonstrate another effect, which is called prefug. It's actually overblow, when you blow the tone all the way up to the harmonics, and you can actually hear several tones together at this point, right? And the prefug I've used before, but in this one song, it is being used different way rhythmically, after each note at the section is like overblown. So I thought it was interesting for you to hear. Let's go back to koncovka. Koncovka has cousins in some other countries, while Fujara is only Slovak, heritage. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Koncovka does in several other countries, but they look a little bit different. There's a cousin in the Scandinavian countries which is called flute, made from willow tree. Flute means actually willow free, jak willow flute. Sorry, and it also has a fipple like this one, but there is also open-end flute, overtone flute in Russia, which is rim blown, which is called kaliuka, and there is also similar open-end blown flute in Romania called tilinka. I'd like to play for you one last example of the koncovka use. What's the time? Okay, time is running out. In traditional music, this one is from northern part of Slovakia. It is a little combination of three songs from northern Slovakia. Thank you. What I've played so far were examples or echoes of life a long time ago, maybe 100 years or more, and both music and lyrics reflected that time. But what about today, in current age? There are actually two different approaches or solutions to how to play this instrument. One is to preserve and emulate or copy the old songs and recordings and interpret them in a very similar way to the original. This is very commendable to do, but can Fujara be played current way? This is a big discussion going on about that, if it should be or should not, and people are doing it anyway, right? Unfortunately, the second group, which is playing the Fujara the current way, is I don't know how to say that. It's a noisy group of amateurs who either buy the Fujara from Slovakia or, in most cases, make approximation of Fujara from PVC tubes. There's nothing wrong with that if they would play it right. But they just learn a couple of effects and a couple tones, and then they videotape themselves and go on YouTube and say, this is how Fujara is being played. And then everybody who wants to find out something about Fujara goes to internet and finds this kind and say, oh, what is this? I don't want to play this instrument. So this is not really helpful. I am promoting Fujara as a melodic instrument, and I want or would like it to be recognized as true musical instrument for its capabilities to play in more than 2 octaves, a diatonic scale, almost chromatic, in many keys of major and minor tuning. What to play on Fujara? Well, you cannot play everything. What you can actually play is not suitable to the instrument. Like you cannot play everything on sitar, or every instrument has its character. So I will show you what I think it's appropriate for Fujara, or which I like the sound of it on Fujara. Let's go to Baroque period. I will play you little medley of 3 pieces. I'm sure you will recognize the last one. Thank you. It's hard to believe, but even some classical music could be played on Fujara. I like very much Czech composer Antonín Dvořák, especially his opera Rusalka. I'm going to play a little piece from that for you. Moon on the White Sky. Thank you. When I brought my first Fujara from Slovakia and was playing all the traditional songs, my wife told me, "Oh, those are so sad, so melancholic. Why don't you play something cheerful on Fujara?" And I said, "Well, no, there are not really too many cheerful songs in Slovak music." And I was like thinking, what else could be played? And that's possibly thanks to that started my quest what to play on Fujara, thanks to her. I couldn't find anything suitable, so I had to make up my own music. I will play you two short examples from my first CD called Ideas with Fujara. The first is called Mount Airy Sunrise, because it came to me when I was getting up in my house in Mount Airy and sun was rising, and me too. you. The second song is very short. It's called the merry-go-round because it goes round and round like a carousel for children. All right, I hope I will have a chance to introduce to you this new kind of overtone flute, which I've asked my friend Dusan Holing in Slovakia to make for me. First, I wanted to have it having longer, but of course, same problem. So I've asked him to make me another of those extensions for the koncovka, not for the Fujara. But also, I've asked him to make me one hole right here. So it's no longer without any hole. This hole can raise the pitch at several overtone levels one full step, which hugely expands the range of this instrument of koncovka. And now, finally, I can play on it many, many other songs and melodies, almost anything. So I'd like to only very shortly show you, maybe not enough time for that. Okay, I guess no. I wanted to show you how we can play very easily children's song with this, with just this one hole. But maybe yes, yeah, right? You would like that, some children's song, just for you too, okay? How many can you recognize? Okay, I have to raise this. Sorry. Okay, that's quite fine. I already played it, right? Okay. What about this? You could play also other stuff on it. For example, very short example. Even if the next song, Amazing Grace, everybody knows that one, you can only play it with this one side hole. But still, I would like to show you what's the difference it makes if you also make the vocalization at the end. Okay, I will play couple measures with just this side hole, and then I will add the right hand. Okay. Right. I had a lot of stuff to play for you on this new instrument, but let me finish with the short medley of three traditional songs, American songs. The first one, all three are from different background. First is "Oh Shenandoah," very well-known song, old song. Second is a gospel, "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot," into which I'm gonna probably add some blues notes. And the last is a bluegrass piece, "Old Joe Clark," which I used to play on banjo. But let's play it on this. Thank you. I have to go because time is running out. But I have to tell you that I just read something on the internet, of course. And it said, everything in the universe is made of tiny vibrating strands of energy called strings. Each is vibrating at its own fundamental frequency, representing the mass, charge, and spin of known elementary particles, and have its own overtones. In early universe, the sound waves oscillated in the hot plasma, density of region was oscillate, overtones have fractions of fundamental wavelength, causing smaller region of space to reach maximum displacement. That's how the whole universe was made, from elementary particles to the whole universe. I think that we can safely say that whole universe just one big Fujara. Thank you very much for your attention. You have been an excellent audience.
Bob Rychlik, thank you.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.